How about the draft, John? So I figured I'd just ask you a couple of things about it because there was a lot of ups and downs. You know, some people think this team did great, this team did poorly and everything. And I understand, everybody wants to kind of grade it. So I figured I'd just at least throw out to you who I thought really did well. And my team, Philadelphia, was one. They did a great job. They took a couple cornerbacks. You can never have enough good corners because everybody has receivers, right? Best draft for receivers. Now you've got the corners. They did that. They also picked up a running back, Shipley from Clemson. They also picked up a linebacker from Clemson. But the Arizona Cardinals actually did some good things, John, which is really rare. But Marvin Harrison Jr., who's the best receiver in the entire draft in a very deep receiver draft. They got Darius Robinson. He's the kid you and I talked about from Missouri, the big defensive end who's edge rusher. He is a baller. And all these other edge rushers are like 250 pounds. He's 285. But he can still run like a deer and get around. And, oh, by the way, he was an SEC because that's where Missouri plays. And this kid stood out all year long. You pointed him out a couple times. So did I. Trey Benson, the Florida State running back they got. Illinois had an offensive tackle and a tight end who are pretty much freak shows in their own right. They're really good, strong players, Big Ten guys. I think Arizona did really well. Who did you think really kind of either crushed it or missed it?
Well, time will tell as to whether or not the Bears, taking Caleb with number one, if that was the right move. I'll let the kid show me. I haven't liked some of the things he's done, like a lot of people haven't liked, not releasing the medical records and, painting his fingernails and things like that. There are some things here that are sort of red flags, Pete. Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe he can play that. He's got a great wide receiver because Oduze from Washington is one hell of a great receiver. Might not be Harrison, but he ain't far from it, Pete. No. He is good. Mm-hmm. Those two kids from LSU are good. So I think any of those four, you'd be happy to have them on your team. The joke of the whole thing really was Atlanta. I don't know what you do spending $100 million guaranteed for Kirk Cousins, Pete, and then you take Penix. Why?
I'm the one guy who. Go ahead.
Well, because what? Is he an insurance policy against Cousins getting hurt again, Pete? Is that the deal? Is that why you take him? Because otherwise, why would you do that instead of getting him one of those receivers?
All right,
or a big offensive lineman?
I'll push back just a little bit on that one. So here was my assessment of it. Now, I'm just assessing it as a guy looking at the Atlanta Falcons and don't have any opinion, except for this. They haven't had a quarterback in Atlanta since the quarterback they had for about 10 years, right? The kid out of Boston College. But since that, they haven't had anybody, John. There's nobody on their roster anymore. I mean, Mariota's long gone. He was a big bust overall. And I think what makes it interesting for me is this. So you get a veteran quarterback who's 35 years old, about to turn 36. They gave him all this money. I didn't agree with the money that they gave him, number one, but they did it. And they've got the money to do it. Let's be honest. I mean, Arthur Blank can write a check to anybody he wants. Home Depot, for God's sakes, the guy. So forget the money side of it. So he goes out and gets a really good quarterback. But here's the problem. He got a quarterback that hasn't been on the field since he snapped his Achilles, right? So maybe he's good, and maybe they've wasted their money on him. But even if he's healthy, how long is he going to be healthy, and how much longer does he play? I'm going to say he plays maybe 2 years based on his age and everything else, and he could get hurt and everything. If that's the case, at any point between that time that camp starts this year and 2 years from now, you've got a quarterback who can actually quarterback the team and get you there. You already got a running back. Bijan Robinson is a stud from Texas, right? You got Pitts, who's a tight end, who's absolutely a freak show, but nobody's been there to throw him the ball. John, they haven't had you know who their quarterback is? I think it's Tyler Heineke or something like that. I mean, it's all these afterthought guys are their quarterbacks. So should they have maybe taken a lineman? Maybe, but they got a pretty decent offensive line, actually. They got a pretty decent defense. their weakness has been quarterback. So they just said, we're all in on quarterbacks. And they got some receivers. They've got Drake out there, and they've got a few other guys out there. I mean, they've got enough talent, but they have nobody to throw them the ball. So I'm not here just to defend him, but I can sort of see, like, you're looking at a guy who you and I both would say he's kind of a franchise quarterback, and you got him at number 8. And, you and I both know you only have to pay him so much those first 4 or 5 years, right? Rookie contract. So I don't think it was as bad as everybody else. I think you make a good argument because everybody else's argument is the same against me on this one, but I kind of see the other side of it as well. So we'll see how that one unfolds.
Well, I did like, Pete, I'll say this just real quick. I think San Francisco, everybody pointed to the fact that now Mahomes has got this speed freak to throw it to, if you will, Tyreek Hill 2.0. Yeah, he does. And yeah, that's a problem. I agree, because the guy can blow by people. Right. But, that wide receiver from Florida that you just got from over at San Francisco, that kid's a hell of a player, Pete. Mm-hmm. I've watched him play. I think he fits their system perfectly. And you have McCaffrey. And, I just think that was a great pick at that spot for San Francisco. Don't know about the rest of the draft as much, but I thought that one showed that they really just want to be that offensive team. They're loaded on defense. Yeah, they lost a guy, but they'll be able to plug and play another guy into that spot. I think this wide receiver is special.
You know what I liked? One team that I kind of liked just how they approached it, and they've got a new coach and everything in New England, John. So they take Drake May. We all knew who the first 3 picks were going to be, and they were exactly what we thought. And then we got deep into quarterbacks. You got 6 in the first 13 or whatever it was, and however many offensive players in the first round before you got to defense. So now all of a sudden you're getting guys like the Vikings. They got the best defensive end edge rusher in the draft, and they got him at number 10. So that was a damn good thing for them, Alabama kid. But how about Joe Milton? I liked the idea of you went out and you get Drake May, and then you go out and say, you know what? Maybe he's a bust, maybe not. We really don't know. So we don't think so, but that's why we took him where we did. But they take him in the 3rd pick, and then all of a sudden you get Joe Milton in the middle of the 6th round. I don't know. I thought that was genius. Why not? That kid at Tennessee, he was damn good at Michigan, but knew his days were numbered. He did a really nice job, I thought, down in Tennessee. He's big as a house. He can throw the ball as good as anybody. But, for whatever reasons, I mean, maybe there are legitimate reasons why he wasn't that highly rated top 10 type guy. But I'll tell you what, John, you and I have seen that guy throw the football, and he's got the ability. And I saw games in the SEC where he looked as good as anybody else out there, if not better. And so I just like the fact, why not take a shot on a guy middle of the 6th round that potentially, maybe at some point, might even have been a first rounder. And for whatever reason, he wasn't, and just went all the way down to 6.
Yeah, and you basically got him for a bag of balls, Pete.
Nothing.
I mean, 6th round, that's what the Bears got from the Steelers for Justin Fields.
Right.
I mean, 6th round. Again, I would have been proud to have been drafted. I was not. I was free agent. So it's not me saying 6th round players aren't good. They were better than me. They're still better than me. But it's a bag of balls.
Yeah.
It is not those highly touted players that are coming in. On the other hand, there's a guy named Brock Purdy that's playing out in San Francisco that was Mr. Irrelevant, and they got him with the very last pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So is it dumb to take this guy? And or could you deal one of those two if they both have a good training camp? Obviously, they're not thinking that way, but if one of them just stands out, and, they're all thinking, of course, it's Drake May. He's a beast. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if indeed Drake May, doesn't shine the way they think he will, and all of a sudden it's Milton, they're not going to look too dumb picking that guy up in the 6th round.
I agree. Yeah, it's always fun. We could go on and on.